He was a man defined by defiance, a leader forged in the fires of war. Winston Churchill's journey to the top was anything but smooth. Born into aristocracy, his early life was marked by a rebellious spirit and a thirst for adventure, which led him to military service across the globe, from the dusty plains of India to the battlefields of the Sudan. His entry into politics was equally dramatic, switching parties and making powerful friends and enemies along the way. But as the 1930s dawned, Churchill found himself on the political sidelines, in what became known as his wilderness years, while many in power sought to appease the rising threat of Nazi Germany. Churchill's was a lone, booming voice of warning. He saw the danger posed by Adolf Hitler with chilling clarity, delivering speech after speech, urging his nation to rearm and prepare for the storm he knew was coming. His warnings were ignored, dismissed as the ramblings of a warmonger. But history would soon prove him tragically right. As the world teetered on the brink, the man who had been cast out would be the very one his country turned to for its salvation. In May 1940, as Nazi tanks blitzed across France, Britain faced its darkest hour. The government collapsed, and in the midst of chaos, King George VI called upon the one man who had never wavered, Winston Churchill. At 65 years old, he became Prime Minister. His first words to his cabinet were grim but resolute. "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat." The situation was desperate. The British Army was trapped on the beaches of Dunkirk, seemingly doomed. But then, a miracle. A flotilla of naval ships, fishing boats, and civilian yachts crossed the channel, rescuing over 300,000 soldiers from the jaws of the German war machine. It was a colossal defeat, turned into a symbol of national defiance. With France fallen, Britain stood alone. Hitler expected a swift surrender, but he hadn't counted on the bulldog spirit of Churchill and his people. The Battle of Britain raged in the skies, as the Royal Air Force fought valiantly against the Luftwaffe. And on the ground, a new weapon was deployed: Churchill's voice. Through the radio, his powerful speeches echoed in every home, not just reporting the news, but shaping the will of the nation. He promised them victory, however long and hard the road may be. He inspired a nation to fight on the beaches, on the landing grounds, in the fields, and in the streets, and to never surrender. With Britain holding the line, Churchill knew victory was impossible without powerful allies. His primary goal was to bring the United States, with its immense industrial might, into the war. He forged a deep, personal friendship with President Franklin D. Roosevelt. This relationship was the bedrock of the Grand Alliance. Even before America officially entered the war, the Lend-Lease Act was a game-changer, allowing Britain to obtain vital war materials on credit. Churchill's strategy was clear: Europe first. Defeating Nazi Germany was the top priority. Then came Hitler's fateful decision to invade the Soviet Union in June 1941. This created a strange and complex alliance. Churchill, a lifelong anti-communist, now found himself allied with Joseph Stalin. He famously said, "If Hitler invaded hell, I would make at least a favorable reference to the devil in the House of Commons." It was a pragmatic, necessary evil to unite against the greater threat. This alliance was fraught with tension and distrust, but it was crucial. The Soviets would bear the brunt of the fighting on the Eastern Front, grinding down the German army in brutal battles like Stalingrad. Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin, the Big Three, met at conferences in Tehran and Yalta to coordinate strategy, a difficult dance of diplomacy and military planning that would shape the rest of the war and the post-war world. Strategic decisions were often controversial, like the focus on the soft underbelly of Europe through the Italian campaign, which proved to be a long, costly slog. Yet, through it all, Churchill's single-minded focus remained: the total and unconditional surrender of Nazi Germany. The tide was turning, with the Eastern Front consuming German resources and Allied bombers pounding industrial targets. The time came to plan the final, decisive blow, the greatest amphibious invasion in history, D-Day, under the supreme command of American General Dwight D. Eisenhower. Meticulous planning had been underway for years. Churchill was deeply involved, though often anxious about the immense risks. On June 6, 1944, Operation Overlord was launched. Over 150,000 Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy. The foothold was secured at a terrible cost, but it was the beginning of the end. The liberation of France began. Paris was freed in August, and Allied forces began their relentless push toward Germany from the west, while the Soviets advanced from the east. The final year of the war in Europe was a brutal campaign. Battles like the Battle of the Bulge showed the enemy's last desperate gasps of resistance. Finally, on May 8, 1945, V-Day, the guns fell silent in Europe. Germany had surrendered. Standing on a balcony in Surmise, Churchill addressed the cheering crowds. "This is your victory," he roared, and the crowd roared back. "No, it is yours." He had guided his nation from the brink of annihilation to its finest hour. Victory in war, however, did not guarantee political victory at home. In a stunning turn of events, just weeks after Germany's surrender, Churchill's Conservative Party was defeated in the 1945 general election. The British people, while grateful for his wartime leadership, were now focused on building a new post-war society. Though out of office, Churchill remained a towering figure on the world stage. In a 1946 speech in Fulton, Missouri, he delivered another prophetic warning. He declared that an iron curtain has descended across the continent, famously coining the phrase that would define the Cold War for decades. He would serve as Prime Minister again from 1951 to 1955, but his legacy was already cemented. Winston Churchill was more than a politician. He was a force of nature. His unwavering resolve, his soaring oratory, and his refusal to accept defeat inspired not just a nation, but the entire free world. He remains a symbol of defiance and a testament to the power of leadership in the face of tyranny. His story is a powerful reminder that in the darkest of times, one voice, one indomitable will, can change the course of history. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of a legend, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more.